Research shows that the average adult has an attention span of 8.25 seconds. Think about that real quick. 8.25 seconds. Why do you think that is? We live in a day and age where you're kind of being bombarded every single day with all of these different impulses and all of this different stimuli, or stimuli, I should say. If you were to dive into the reasons why the majority of people have such a short attention span, it's because we're literally frying our dopamine receptors. Like dopamine is like a neurotransmitter, if I'm not mistaken, and it's linked to reward and motivation. And what happens when you keep kind of going for cheap dopamine rushes? Like, for example, you see like a new video, you click on a new video, and you're refreshing your social media page, hoping that you'll see like a new video. If you do this constantly, it kind of it stimulates that same behavior because you keep looking for it. And think about it. That's so garbage. If you have like an attention span of 8.25 seconds, which is the average, no wonder you cannot get any work done. No wonder you feel bored all the time. No wonder that you're not motivated to work hard. You're just like a dopamine junkie. And I think that the majority of people don't realize that. And it's so hard to also resist this kind of behavior because it's so embedded into our like everyday behavior that it is extremely hard to get out of. Is it worth to work for and get out of this, like, you know, this, I wouldn't say, well, you could say is a bad habit. I think it's a bit bigger than that. I think it's worth it to work for, and kind of change your behavior in a way. It's really sad if you think about it, to be quite honest, that the majority of people have come to the point where we cannot even focus for more than 10 seconds. And your attention span can be built up from like 3 to 4 to 6 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And it just shows that we are just kind of working against ourselves. We want to do all of these things and we have these goals and whatever, but we somehow cannot find, the fire to work for. And that's not crazy when we live in a day and age where we're just constantly seeking new dopamine in the most like cheap ways. Like if you work extremely hard for something, like you do like a hike or a project for school or whatever, for work, you name it, those are like the dopamine hits that are worth it, because there was like so much extensive efforts and you exhausted like all your sources, to complete whatever you had to complete. And those are like the dopamine hits that are worth it. That is what like a healthy kind of, that would be like more of a healthy behavior than to literally refresh your social media page 3 to 4 times in the hope that you find something new that's gonna stimulate you. The more I think about it, the more it just gets ridiculous, to be quite honest. And I'm sometimes very disappointed in myself that I used to be like this. But of course, it's part of life. You grow and you learn. And I'm just sharing this video because there are gonna be people watching this video that might relate to this without really understanding why. And I'm also not fully understanding why. I'm just explaining and kind of sharing whatever I know about it and my thoughts and my experience, in the hope that you realize it and you work for it, just like the same way I'm working for it. Like we're all students here, you're students of life. It's really unfulfilling. If you go and kind of check if your daily day-to-day life is just like this, I would say it's like a very unfulfilling life. Like cheap dopamine hits and frying your dopamine receptors to the point where you need that quick, those quick hits, instead of actually working hard for something and then, completing it. One of the best ways that I found to kind of reshape this kind of habit, or like kind of this framework within my brain, was to do like a social media detox, or like a dopamine detox, basically. I don't have that many social media platforms to begin with. I deleted most of them a couple years ago. But when I did like a dopamine detox, and I know there's no like scientific term of dopamine detox, so before anybody says, oh, that doesn't actually not how it works, because Okay, relax. I'm not a scientist. I'm just putting in like layman's terms. When I did the dopamine detox, I basically drastically changed the way I consumed like the social media pages that I had. For example, YouTube, Netflix, stuff like that. And it really changed my life, to be quite honest. I drastically lessened my use, and it was pretty hard at the beginning. I still kept the apps on my phone just because I wanted to kind of test myself how often I would go back, and I caught myself several times, of course, going back to these pages. But it's completely fine because it's part of a process, and you're not gonna make like a huge change in one day. It's you take like baby steps, and it was honestly amazing. Like it was amazing, and ever since that moment, I've never gone back to the amount of social media that I used to consume. So, if you want to know how to kind of rewire your brain, I have a video uploaded on my channel that says like dopamine detox, and it's worth looking into. And who knows how it can benefit you, know? Do yourself a favor and do a dopamine detox. Try it out. What can go wrong?